Hi everyone, and welcome to more Wet Rock and Chocolate Milk. This little piece of paradise is Scapa Flow, and below me is the SMS Markgraf. The Markgraf is a German First World War König-class dreadnought battleship. She was the third ship in her class and scuttled in Scapa Flow with the German High Seas Fleet on the 21st of June 1919. She is 146 meters long and has a beam of 28 meters. Today, she lies upside down in about 45 meters of water, with the highest parts in roughly 25 meters. The Markgraf's claim to diving fame is that she has one of only three remaining intact dreadnought bows, and the only one that is easily diveable. She is also the most intact of the three battleships in Scapa Flow, likely because the salvagers learned their lessons on the other ships and managed to get the parts they wanted with less collateral on the Markgraf. The shot is tied into the anchor chain which wrapped around the hull as the ship rolled over during the sinking. At this point in the dive, it is really important to drop on the correct side of the hull, as she isn't perfectly upside down, but one side has interesting structures to see, while the other side is basically just the hull down to the seabed. Ask me how I know. One navigational oopsie-daisy and a surprisingly long swim to the bow later, we arrive at the Markgraf's smackable stern. In comparison to the size of the vessel, the stern section is surprisingly slim. I would have expected her to be much wider. Meanwhile, as I am marveling over the beauty of the Markgraf's derriere, my buddy is testing his bailout. Not to worry though, we briefed that exercise. Exercise complete and everything being well, we move on towards the bow. At least there's only one way to go from here, so I'm fairly confident I can find the right way. Not far from the stern, we come across one of her two 3-meter tall rudders. On a good day, you can get some really impressive pictures between the rudders. Today is not one of these days. It's quite impressive to see the sacrificial anode still being in such a good shape after more than a century. A bit forward of the rudders, I poke around some of the salvage scars and find one of the propeller shafts. To conserve a bit of deco time, we follow the hull where it is shallower towards the bow. After a few minutes, we come across this hole that leads into the torpedo room. This is great news. It means we're almost at the bow, but more importantly, it's a hole that we can check out. And this is the famous bow, one of only three remaining. Just imagine how impressive it must be to lie down on the seabed and look up on a good visibility day. Moving back at around deck level, and this time on the correct side of the hull, we get to one of the casemate guns. All seven remain, though some are easier to spot than others. For open circuit divers, looking at the seven guns is actually quite a nice dive plan called the gun run. And there's another one. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing all seven today. We're getting close to our maximum planned runtime, so this is our last stop before having to say goodbye to the Markgraf.